guys, welcome back to Spin Cycle. I am of course your host Tony Giles, TG, aka the Vinyl Ambassador, and I am stood behind the counter of my new home away from home at Vinyl Shakedown in Burbage. Now Burbage is just outside of Leicester, and when I think of Leicester, I was racking my brains trying to think Leicester. There's got to be some bands from Leicester that I'm aware of, because all I can think of when I think of Leicester is Richard III being buried in a car park. And I mean, he wasn't buried in a car park, he was buried and then they put a car. There's a whole documentary and I believe a movie about it. But it got me thinking about musical bands from Leicester, and I really couldn't think of any. So I jumped on the interwebs and I discovered that not only is Leicester a fairly big musical town, but one of my favorite albums in the occult rock genre emanated from Leicester. Once I found out that fact, it completely blew my mind. Now, when I think of occult rock, for me it kind of started in the very late 60s and ended shortly after in the very early 70s. And when I say occult rock, a lot of people are going to probably jump to this album right here. This is Coven's Witchcraft Destroys Minds and Reaps Souls. And yes, you could say this album, it's an occult rock album. It is an occult rock album. Most of the B-side is actually taken up by a Black Mass. But the funny thing about this album is how darn catchy most of the songs are. The second track on this album, White Witch of Rose Hall, is an absolutely killer slice of 60s pop. And what I'm holding in my hand right here, this is not a original pressing, this is a reissue. I think this one came out in the early 2000s on Occult Records. Now, Witchcraft, not from the UK, they are an American band, but you think of occult rock from the UK and well, your mind probably springs to this band right here, the mighty Black Sabbath, from not too far away in Birmingham. Spoken about Black Sabbath on this very channel before. And in the order of release, Witchcraft came first in 1969. This album, I believe, dropped in February of 1970, so very, very much hot on the heels. But this is not the album or the band I want to talk about today. No, the album and the band I want to talk about today is Black Widow and the album Sacrifice, the only occult rock album in their entire discography. Before they became Black Widow, I believe they were called Pesky G, and they released an album on the Pi label that did virtually nothing. It being the late 60s, things were happening in the world. They decided to head in the occult direction, and they made this absolutely killer late 60s, early 70s rock, psych, funk, just this sheer masterpiece of an album called Sacrifice. The first track on this album, In Ancient Days, is nothing short of legendary. This that I hold in my hands right here, this is actually a first pressing as well. I managed to track this down not too long ago, and I'm super stoked I did, because they do not make records like this anymore, my friends. So Black Widow, from Leicester, not too far from where I am. And it's a beautiful part of the world. It really is a beautiful part of the world. And how you get from a beautiful part of the world to this is beyond me, but this is some killer artwork. I'm not even sure what's going on here. There are all kinds of witches and demons and dogs and strange things. And you've got the lyrics there to two songs, In Ancient Days and The Way to Power. And this one came out 1970, as I said, on the CBS label. We'll take a look at the disc here as well. It has that lovely orange big CBS label, which I'm a big fan of. You'll know that I'm a vinyl label fanatic, fetish. I don't even know how to pronounce that word. I love me some vinyl labels. This is an absolutely brilliant slice of early 70s, late 60s rock music. If you are not familiar with this, jump on your favorite streaming platform of choice and grab yourself a copy of this. I genuinely do not know if this album has seen a repress. It wouldn't surprise me if it had, because it is one of those albums and is gaining in popularity. So if you are on the hunt for an original copy, I suggest you make haste, my friends, because these things, they do not last forever. But there you go, that was a look at Black Widow's Sacrifice, one of my personal favourite albums from the late 60s, early 70s. Sadly, Black Widow would go on to release other albums, but nothing in the same vein, which is a shame because this album is nothing if not fantastic. Remember guys, if you would like to grab yourself some Memphis merchandise, head on over to mrpswag.com. You can grab yourself a shirt, a hat, a mug, a hoodie, all kinds of bits and bobs. And if you'd like to make sure you never miss an episode of Spin Cycle, be subscribed to the Memphis Record Pressing YouTube channel. But that's it for now. When you think vinyl, think Memphis.